And if suddenly the news from around the world started with the same sentence, scientists have just confirmed the existence of a planet identical to Earth. Not only similar, but really the same. Same atmospheric composition, ideal temperature, presence of liquid water, similar continents, even white clouds floating over blue oceans. A true cosmic mirror of our planet. Now stop and think. What would you feel when hearing this? Fear, fascination, curiosity? After all, what if we discovered a planet like Earth? This question itself is enough to shake everything we know about the universe, life, and even our role in this huge cosmic stage. We're talking about the real possibility of existing a second land, a world so similar to ours that could even house intelligent life. Or maybe even another version of ourselves. In recent years, space agencies like NASA and ESA have been intensifying the search for habitable exoplanets, and the advancement of technology has allowed telescopes like James Webb to observe with accuracy never seen before. Planets in the so-called habitable zone, with ideal conditions for sustaining life as we know, have already been found in the hills. But now, imagine something beyond, a planet that can not only be habitable, but is practically a copy of Earth. Have you ever wondered if we are really alone in the universe? Or if perhaps there is a 2.0 land wandering somewhere far from the galaxy, with its own forests, seas, mountains, and who knows, even an advanced civilization? This discovery would shake the foundations of our science, philosophy, and spirituality. It would completely change the way we see our planet and ourselves. Because if there is a land equal to ours, then what else is out there? But here's a question that can make you restless. If you had a chance to live on this new planet, would you leave everything behind and start from scratch? Or would you stay here, where you always knew as home? Think about it. This is not a simple story of science fiction. We are talking about real possibilities, based on scientific studies, astronomical data, and recent discoveries. Each day, the number of Earth-like exoplanets increases. But the idea of an identical planet opens a portal for countless questions still unanswered. Would we have a second chance? Would we be facing a new start to humanity? Or would this new Earth become just another target of exploration and colonization? In this video, we will take you for a cosmic journey to explore all the consequences of finding this planet. Let's talk about what makes a habitable world, how scientists identify planets similar to Earth, and what we could find there. So get ready, because what you're about to find out can forever change the way you see the universe. And before continuing, answer in the comments, if there was another land, would you go there or stay here? Understanding Carl Jung's teachings can be transformative in his journey of self, knowledge, and overcoming emotional pain. By applying the concepts of Jung's philosophy, you can develop a deeper emotional resilience and a clearer understanding of yourself. If this content has resonated with you, do not hesitate to leave your comment below, sharing your reflections or experiences. His participation is valuable and enriches our community. Also, when you enjoy this video and subscribe to the channel, you help us continue bringing relevant and deepened content on topics that positively impact everyone's life. Activate the bell to receive notifications and not lose our next publications. But after all, are we close to finding a other land? And what exactly does science mean when you talk about a planet similar to ours? Before we imagine human colonies crossing the space and disembarking in a new home, it is important to understand how this search for habitable worlds works and how much we have advanced in that direction. It all starts with a fascinating concept that has become increasingly common among scholars and astronomy enthusiasts: exoplanets. The term may sound technical, but the meaning is simple. Exoplanets are planets that orbit other stars other than our Sun. That is, they are planets outside our solar system, scattered throughout the most distant and mysterious of galaxies. And here is a data that you may not know. we have discovered more than 5,000 confirmed exoplanets to this day. That's right, 5,000. And this number is constantly growing as telescopes become more powerful and the most accurate algorithms. Some of these planets are giant, similar to Jupiter. Others are cold and dark worlds where the light of their star barely warms the surface. But among these thousands, there is a very special group that always draws more attention, the so-called rocky exoplanets, and located in the habitable zone. And here comes another fundamental term to understand this story: habitable zone. Think about it as a kind of ideal point around a star, not so close as the water evaporates, not so far where everything would be frozen. It is like the magic range where conditions are conducive so that liquid water, an essential element for life as we know, may exist. And so when scientists find a rocky planet similar to that of Earth orbiting within this habitable zone, the radar of curiosity fires. And now, get ready, because among these promising planets, some really impress with their resemblance to ours. One of the most famous is the Kepler 452b. Discovered by NASA's Kepler mission, this planet is about 1,400 light-years from Earth in the constellation of Cygnus. He orbits a star very similar to our Sun, and his orbit is almost the same as the Earth. A year there lasts 385 days. This is amazing. But the most fascinating thing is that it is in the habitable zone of its star and has a diameter only 60% higher than ours. This makes you one of the best candidates for a 2.0 land we've ever found. But he is not alone. Another name that has been gaining prominence in the latest research is the TOI 700d. Located about 101 light-years from Earth, it also orbits within the habitable zone of its star, a cold red dwarf. TOI 700d is almost identical to that of Earth, which means that its gravity can be very close to ours. The surface temperature, according to current models, is also compatible with the presence of liquid water, and since its star is colder than the Sun, the habitable zone is closer, which makes the orbit of this planet shorter. A year there lasts 37 days. But wait, is only the distance from the star and the size of the planet enough to define if a world can really be habitable? The answer is not exactly. These are just the first indicators. For a planet to be considered a true twin brother on Earth, many other variables come into play. We need to consider atmospheric composition, the activity of the mother star, the rotation of the planet, the radiation level, the presence of a protective magnetic field, among other factors. All of this directly affects the possibility of life and the survival of humans if one day we decided to venture out there. And this is where the thing gets even more interesting. With the launch of the James Webb Space Telescope, science has gained a powerful new weapon to scour the universe in search of these characteristics. James Webb is able to analyze with unprecedented accuracy the composition of the distant exoplanet atmosphere. This means that now we can smell, so to speak, the air of these worlds. And through this analysis, we can detect gases such as oxygen, methane, carbon dioxide, and even possible bioacid. Elements that only appear when there is some kind of biological activity. Imagine this for a second. A planet with oxygen, rich atmosphere, with water vapor strokes, and perhaps, maybe, with a slight sign of methane at levels compatible with those produced by living beings. It would be the beginning of the greatest discovery in human history, and perhaps this moment is closer than we think. This is why, behind the scenes of science, the search for a second land is not just a matter of curiosity. It is an ambitious project, almost a long-term mission of humanity. Because if we find a planet with all the characteristics of the Earth, not only similar, but really the same in geological, climate and atmospheric terms, it would open doors for deep debates about who we are, where we came from, and where we are going. By the way, If we are a little bolder, we may even think, what if right now there is a civilization in one of these planets, pointing to its own telescopes to space and detecting the Earth as a possible habitable world as well? Would we then be the other land of them? Would we be the planet mirror for them, the alternative land? This idea is so provocative that it even gives goosebumps. But it is not just an exercise of imagination. Many astrobiologists consider this hypothesis as plausible within the huge number of planets in the galaxy. And when we talk about Earth, like planets, we are not talking about one or two, but billions of potential candidates only on the Milky Way. That's right, billions. The universe is so vast that statistically it is almost impossible to be the only land. In the habitable zone of our galaxy alone, it is estimated that there are over 300 million planets with the potential to house life. And of these, a fraction can have conditions almost identical to those of the Earth. This means that the emergence of a land 2.0 is not just a matter of if, but when we will find it. And when that day comes, and he will arrive, will we be ready? Will we have enough technology to approach? Or will we only be spectators of this new discovery, watching from afar, powerless, a new land spinning around its star as we follow here, facing our own crises, our own limits? The truth is that as much as these planets are too far away to visit today's technology, the simple discovery of a world like ours would be enough to profoundly transform our society. It would change our politics, our science, our beliefs, and perhaps even our destiny as a species. But that raises an even deeper question. If we found this planet, and it was habitable, even more balanced and healthy than the Earth itself, would we be willing to start over there, to build a new world from scratch, or would we continue repeating the same mistakes? That's what we will talk about next. Now, if you got here, I want to know what you think about all this. Comment below with the phrase, "I believe there is another land," if you, like me, feel that we are closer than ever, a discovery that can change everything. And take the opportunity to answer too. If you could name this new land, what would it be? I wait for you in the next part of our cosmic journey. Now, imagine for a second that this planet we are exploring is not just like Earth. Imagine that he really has life, true life, perhaps simple, like microorganisms that developed in primitive oceans, or maybe something much more complex. An entire biosphere with food chains, oxygenated atmosphere, alien forests and deep oceans. Now imagine taking another step further. What if this planet was sheltering a smart civilization, with culture, language, technology, or perhaps with a history of evolution completely different from ours? That's where everything changes, because if this planet is habitable, it can be inhabited. And if there is, in fact, another humanity out there watching the cosmos as we ask, maybe asking the same questions we ask here, are we alone? That would mean we've never been. And that, my friend, changes absolutely everything. Changes science, changes philosophy, changes religion. It changes our way of seeing life, Earth, the universe, and our role in it. For decades, the debate on extraterrestrial life has been treated with skepticism, almost as an exclusive theme of science fiction. But today, with the constant discovery of habitable exoplanets, with telescopes that can analyze worldwide worlds of light years away, this possibility is no longer if, but when. NASA and ESA scientists themselves have publicly declared that we are at a generation of distance from finding clear signs of life on other planets. And the best of all, these signs can come from planets surprisingly similar to ours. But this discovery, when it happens, and it will happen, it will not just be a scientific framework. It will be a watershed for all mankind. The simple confirmation that life is not exclusive to Earth would shake the basis of our beliefs. Religions would have to adapt to a new cosmic reality. Political and economic systems would need to reconsider their role in an inhabited universe. Science would have to rewrite whole chapters. And all of us as a species would have to learn to see beyond our little blue world. Now think to me, what would the first contact look like? Do you think it would be something cinematic, with ships coming down from the sky? Or maybe something much more subtle? A radio transmission with logical standards coming from a specific point of galaxy? Or a chemical signal detected in a distant atmosphere indicating active metabolism? Most likely, the first sign of extraterrestrial life comes silently, discreetly, almost imperceptible to the general public. Perhaps a methane spectrum in an alien atmosphere that cannot be explained by geological processes, or a light pattern emitted by artificial technology. And this little detail, this apparently cold data, would be enough to set fire to debates around the world. In seconds, social networks, newspapers, governments, scientists, religious, everyone would be arguing. What does that mean? The presence of life on another Earth, like planet, also raises an issue that, to this day, intrigues us. Is life an exception or a rule in the universe? Because if we find life out there, and especially if we find intelligence, then that suggests that the universe is fertile, that life can arise anywhere where conditions are adequate. And more than that life tends to evolve, adapt, see right, as we did. Now imagine the emotional impact of this. Knowing that somewhere in the universe there is someone looking at the stars, just as you are doing it now. That they also have doubts, fears, dreams. Maybe they are looking for us, or already knowing about our existence. And here comes a hypothesis that will mess with your mind. What if they are already watching us? What if, for thousands of years, advanced civilizations have already identified the Earth as an interesting point in the cosmos? What if we were visited in the past? Or if we are being monitored in secret? Yes, this may sound like conspiracy theory, but it can also be just the reality that we have not yet been able to understand completely. Because when we look at the sky, what we see are stars, but what exists between them is mystery. And it is precisely this mystery that moves science. Astronomers are not just watching lights flashing in the dark. They are seeking answers about the origin of life, what it means to exist, what it expects us beyond the Earth. And do you know what is scarier and more amazing at the same time? Even though we do not find overcome civilizations or alien technologies, the mere existence of microbial life on another planet would be enough for a revolution, because it would show that life can arise spontaneously in extreme environments in different planetary contexts, and this would open infinite possibilities for the future of humanity. Perhaps one day, not that distant, human colonies can live side by side with alien species. Perhaps we can exchange knowledge, culture, science, or maybe we have to deal with the shock of finding civilizations that have already solved problems that still torment us. Wars, inequality, environmental destruction. What would it be like for humanity to be confronted with a better version of itself? Or worse, with a decaying version of a civilization that followed the same destructive paths? And by the way, if there is life on another planet, is she peaceful? Or should we prepare for the unexpected? Was it a friendly contact or something that challenges our most primitive instincts of protection and survival? These are questions that have no easy answers, but these are questions we need to ask. Because we are closer than ever to find these answers, and you are living exactly in the generation that can see this happen. And now I want to involve you even more on this journey. If you are here until this moment of the video, it is because you feel something very similar to what I feel, a mixture of fascination, fear, excitement, and deep respect for the universe. So comment below with the phrase, "I believe in life outside the Earth," if you also feel that we are at the gates of a discovery that will change everything. And take the opportunity to leave in the comments. If you could send a single message to an alien civilization, what would you say? Right there, I'll read everyone. And now, Get ready, because in the next block we'll explore the boldest scenario of all. What if we decide to leave Earth and start our story in this new land we just found? What awaits us in a new world? We meet in the next chapter of our cosmic journey. If the Earth collapsed, if our planet, the only home we know, began to give clear signs that it could no longer support us, what would we do? The question is uncomfortable but incredibly necessary. Because although we are dipped on a life, full planet with vast oceans, pulsating forests and a breathable atmosphere, we are also observing, increasingly with more concern, fractures in the natural balance of the Earth. Climate crises, extreme events, environmental degradation, scarcity of resources. All of this forces us to think of alternatives. And if there was a second land, a habitable twin planet ready to receive us, would this be our plan B? This idea that once seemed absurd today is seriously debated by scientists, engineers, futurists, and even large aerospace corporations. Interstellar migration, which looked like movie stuff, such as Interstellar or The 100, begins to leave the field of fiction and gradually enter technological reality. Of course, we are not saying that this will happen tomorrow or in the next decade, but the first steps to colonize other worlds are already being given now, before our eyes. NASA, for example, has already made it clear in several projects and statements that the colonization of other planets is in its long-term plans. And when we talk about SpaceX, the conversation gains even more strength. Elon Musk, CEO of the company, is one of the most fervent advocates of the idea of making humanity a multiplanetary species. Your most ambitious project? Take people to Mars. Yes, Mars. Even being a HOS environment, till with freezing temperatures, dust and low-severity storms, he is still the nearest candidate to start the journey of human colonization in space. But Jadi, what if we discovered a planet equal to Earth, with all the natural conditions ready, without the need for Earth information? This would change absolutely everything, because Earth form Mars, or any other celestial body, is a process that would require centuries, perhaps millennia, of planetary engineering. Recreate an atmosphere, generate a magnetic field, stabilize the climate. All this is far beyond what we can do today. But a twin planet of the Earth, already with the ideal conditions, would be like finding a new house ready to change. It would be enough to get there. And then we go into another critical issue. How would we go to this planet? Even though it is just 100-year-old away, as is the case with some exoplanets such as TOI 700d, this represents a trip from hundreds of thousands of years with our current technology. Our fastest ships today, such as the Parker Solar Probe, barely approach the fraction needed to reach these destinations in a timely manner. The interstellar trip, then, is still the biggest bottleneck in the dream of colonization. But Dean, what if we find a planet like this closer than we imagine? Or if propulsion engineering gives a radical leap in the coming decades? Projects like Breakthrough Starshot are already proposing concepts of ships moved to light candles, which could reach speeds of up to 20% of light speed. This would allow us to reach star systems like Alpha Centauri, one of the nearest, in just 20 or 30 years. Does it look a lot? Not compared to a trip that could last millennia. We are at the edge of a revolution in spatial exploration. And if we can overcome this barrier, the next step would be to study the target planet with depth. Its severity, soil composition, types of local microorganisms, possible biological risks, drinking water sources, climate stability, solar radiation, everything would have to be carefully analyzed. We're not just talking about sending probes or robots. We are talking about establishing permanent human colonies with habitat, agriculture, oxygen, energy, and even governance. Here, science fiction can help us better visualize these scenarios. In Interstellar, for example, we see a desperate humanity facing a decaying land, and betting everything on the exploration of distant worlds in search of survival. Already in the 100, the narrative revolves around a civilization that, after a nuclear collapse on Earth, passes generations in a space station until deciding to return to the planet. But what if, instead of coming back, they had migrated to a perfect new land, newly uncovered thousands of light years from here? The decision to leave the Earth would not be simple. Even in case of collapse, attachment to our planet is deep. Here is our history, our roots, memories, biodiversity. Migrating to another planet would mean starting over from scratch, building a new civilization on completely new bases, physical, cultural, and emotional. It would be a unique chance, but also a gigantic responsibility. What would humanity's first steps be like in a new world? Imagine the moment when the first human steps in the new Earth. The silence, the different gravity, the family landscape, and at the same time, totally alien. The sky may have another shade, the forests, other colors. Perhaps there are wild creatures never seen before. Maybe the water has a different taste. Maybe the air has a slight metallic aroma. But it would be our new home. Now this scenario projects with me, a space base built on the banks of a huge blue ocean. Housing modules connected by pressurized tunnels, greenhouse cultivating potatoes, tomatoes, adapted fruits. Scientists studying local soil microorganisms, children born with slightly different gravity, a new culture emerging, a new calendar, new traditions, and maybe a new version of the human being. Because interstellar migration would not just be a change of address, it would be an existential transformation. Would we be the same, or would we become something new, adapted to the new Earth, shaped by a new environment, new needs and new challenges? Would we continue to repeat the same mistakes made here, or would we learn from the past, and would we build a more balanced, more just, more connected society with the universe? These are questions that can only be answered over time. But one thing is certain, the urge to explore, to expand, to survive is part of human nature. And if there is a new land waiting for us at some point in the universe, we will find it. And when we find, we need to decide, we are or are we going? If you are with me here, I want to invite you to imagine this scenario with me. You are among the chosen for colony that new land. You have a backpack, a ship waiting for you, and a message from humanity to carry with you. What would you take? What would you leave behind? What values would you defend in this new beginning? He comments down here with the phrase, I would go to the new Earth, if you believe that migrating to another planet can be the next step of humanity. And enjoy and write in the comments, if you could only take one thing from Earth to this new world, what would it be? It can be an object, an idea, a value, or even a memory. I will read all the comments. And now, get ready, because in the next part, let's talk about something even deeper, what it means to exist in a universe where there are infinite possibilities of life, worlds, and consciences, and where, maybe, we are not the center of nothing. If you have come here, it's because you are like me, someone who feels that the universe keeps answers we can't even imagine yet. And so you can't go out without subscribing to the channel. Here, with each video, we travel together through distant worlds, fascinating theories and possibilities that challenge everything we know. Enjoy now and already leave your like, because it shows to YouTube that this content is worth it and helps me continue bringing videos like this to you. And if you really stayed until the end, comment here below, I am an explorer of other worlds, so I will know who are the most faithful curious of this cosmic journey. And of course, don't stop here. Click now on the next video that is appearing on the screen, because in it we will explore such a bizarre planet that challenges all the laws of physics. I hope you're there.